What's cracking, everybody? Zerafel Rules here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content, and in today's video, finally did it. We hit Legend in the Ultra League Halloween Cup with this team with Tapu Fini, Giratina Altered, and Shadow Drapion. Now this is such a strong team in this meta. I can't even. I went on literally a 14-1 run to hit Legend, and it should have been a 15-0 hit because I got hit with a desync demon. You guys are going to see that. So in today's video, we've got all three sets on my run to Legend, and I'm going to speed them up a little bit faster so the video is not super long. But all the matchups that I played here are here, and hopefully it'll be more of an educational sort of video because it'll have all those different matchups. And just real quick plug here, if you're looking to get some coaching before the end of the season, try and hit that next ranked veteran, ace, legend, what have you. You can check the Metafile link out in the description to get in my schedule for some coaching for PvP, as well as a Patreon Discord where this team and a couple other teams that are coming out this week were in the Discord that people have hit Legend with in that Discord. So tons of awesome people in there to get to know and get some help with PvP. Also, you know, teams, early access to all that, plus meta analysis and everything from me as well. So it's a great place to be if you want to get better at Go Battle League and even Self to some degree. So without further ado, and enough of my shameless plugging, let's get into these battles and check out just how strong this team is. So Tapu Fini versus Tentacruel. This is probably the worst thing I could have asked for, and honestly I thought I was going to lose the game immediately. Bad leads, we swapped to the Shadow Drapion. This thing is my trusty safe swap in the Ultra League metas. I mean, Shadow Drapion is honestly my #1 top pick for building literally anything you could build for Ultra League. This is the #1. Shadow Drapion is just so stupid strong in these metas that those crunches, you know, they add up very quickly. The debuffs are going to come, you know, if they come, they flip matchups by themselves. So opponent swaps out of their Tentacruel to try to maintain it for my Tapu Fini. They come in with a Scizor, and even with an attack debuff, my Drapion is going to be able to two-shot with the crunches, which is why this is such a strong Pokemon. It's because those crunches do so much damage that even with a debuff, it's still going to, you know, cause my opponent to force a shield here, which is huge. And so I'm going to let this go. If it's an Iron Head, I got full health, but the opponent is running X Scissor and Night Slash most likely because they always run Night Slash for coverage and the boost. So I'm going to no shield everything here. They're going to throw X Scissors and Night Slashes, and that's fine. I'm going to farm this Scizor all the way down, and I want to try and do my best to let Giratina hopefully sleep. Now they bring in a Cofagrigus here, or Cofagrigus, proper way to say it. And I have 2 shields. And I know that the only way that they can really KO me here is with a Shadow Ball, so I have to tank, I have to shield everything. But I'm hoping that my Dragon Claws are going to do enough damage to take out the Cofagrigus. I gotta say Cofagrigus. I'm not used to this, man. I'm so used to saying it a certain way now. Gonna take out the Cofagrigus. God, I can't, my wife's laughing at me. He's like, what an idiot. I'm gonna take out the Cofagrigus with my Dragon Claw spam here. And this is my first time running Giratina Altered, by the way. Like, I literally just built this thing before this cup. And I'm enjoying it. It's a raid 1 raid IV. So it gets most of the important breakpoints according to Swag Tips video, and misses a couple, but honestly I'm not really worried about those. That's why I was okay with building this one, investing. And it's running Ancient Power, which, if you aren't aware, it got that adjustment boost from the beginning of the season. It increased the power of the move, but lowered the actual debuff itself, or the buff itself, I should say. And it gets a stage 1 buff instead of a stage 2. So I noticed that the opponent is so low here that I could come in with my Tapu Fini and I could take it out, and that is going to do it. That's a good game. A lot of the games that I played with this team were very close. There's at least 2 or 3 that I won only by a hair. So opponent comes in with Escavalier to Tapu Fini, and that is a mistake. Now, what I'm going to do here is I probably should just swap straight to my Giratina. But what I want to do here is I want to get some energy so that I can hit the Umbreon with a Moonblast later. But what I'm going to look to do here is I'm going to build up a ton of energy, go for a Surf to maybe pick a shield off of the Escavalier first, and then swap in my Giratina at some point. Now, I could go for double Surf. I stay in too long. This is my first set running the team, so I'm kind of still figuring everything out here. But I'm going to go for some more energy because I can with the resist counters, and I'm honestly just willing to maybe farm this thing down almost. I think that I should have definitely come with my Giratina here, but I also kind of just commit to the Tapu Fini at this point because I don't know, man. I just completely screwed it up. But Thankfully, they have a Toxicroak in the back, which means that my Giratina still has some play. Now, if I was smart, I would have brought my Giratina in right away, but then I would have had to worry about the Drapion being the thing that was against the rest of this team. So after a while, my thought process here was let Drapion be lined up against the Umbreon because it's most likely a Psychic Umbreon because it's in the lead. Typically, that's where the Psychic Umbreon is. I've seen plenty of them that are just last resort in the lead. I didn't think this one is. But typically speaking, that's where I would expect if you see an Umbreon in the lead, it's going to be in the it's going to be the Psychic version. So I'm going to throw a bunch of Sludge Bombs at this Umbreon. I have a shield still, I believe, so I'm going to be able to maintain a lot of positive alignment as well as like just a positive advantage here. Having that extra shield and having a full Giratina altered is just, it's so good. Like I know why you all run it. And I used to hate everybody for it because it was the most annoying thing in Ultra League because it's just like, it's just there. It's bulky, it's annoyingly spammy, but I know why you run it now. It's great. So I swap in immediately because I actually read that they're going to swap in their Toxicroak, and I just farm down and they go down. It's fine. That's it. Good game. That's all right. So this was a set the day before I hit Legend. I included it because it was a 5-0, and this is where I actually figured out the team. Crobat is a real pain here. Now, I try to catch this Poison Fang, and I actually don't know how much damage a Shadow Ball does to my Giratina, and I probably should shield the one that they're about to throw at me, but I decided not to because I want to do this for science, so I'm going to figure out just how much, and I'm like, you know, this thing has Ancient Power, and it does quite a bit of damage even to Crobat, so I'm like, I don't need to shield this, I could probably farm down, right? Nope, not at all. And my boom button's not on right now, so kaboom. And so I'm going to come in with my Tapu Fini. I'm going to farm down because I know I can. And then they have a Nidoqueen. And I've got a loaded Tapu Fini. So we're looking pretty good here. The loaded Tapu Fini can throw the Surfs. And that's the nice thing about the Nidoqueen here is that, like, because of the ground typing, those Surfs actually threaten and pull shields. So I'm going to shield a potential Earth Power. It's probably a Poison Fang, but I usually shield them anyway. And it was an Earth Power, thankfully. So my thought here is to get as much damage onto this Goon as I can. And then I'm going to let my Tapu Fini farm down, hold that shield for the Nidoqueen, and just, I'm going to hope that two or three Surfs, or maybe a Crunch, if I can get to it. My opponent throws Obstruct. And I'm kind of concerned. Like, why would you throw Obstruct after not shielding the first move? So I'm going to make them pay for it. Sludge Bomb is going to come through. I don't need to shield this because that means they just have Night Slash. So I can probably come in now, farm down, because the switch timer was a little bit misaligned, and I'm going to be able to farm down before they even get to a move. And now I've got two Surfs ready to go against the Nidoqueen, and Obstagoon is gone and out of the picture, so I just have to get to a Crunch with my Drapion, and I'm going to save that shield for the Drapion to make sure that I can get to that Crunch, because one Crunch will definitely KO from this range, and that's basically going to be the end of it. But maybe we could farm down. Nope, not going to be able to farm down. So I don't even need to get to a Crunch here. I have to shield this, though. Even if it's a Poison Fang, it's probably going to KO. But they have 1 HP, and I snuck a Poison Sting through, and that is going to do it. Good game. That was very close, though. It was way closer than it needed to be. Oh, I got kicked out of the battle after this one. It was some glitchy stuff. I was very, very surprised that it actually let me stay. So they safe swapped in a Genesect to my Tapu Fini. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, Tapu Fini is really good, but I also noticed that after I throw that Surf that they have a Shock Drive, which means I'm coming in immediately with my Giratina because I know that I can at least survive a Techno Blast of the electric variety on Giratina. However, it would destroy my Tapu Fini's entire face. So that being said, I'm just going to farm down the Genesect, and they're going to come back in most likely with their Dragalge. And because my Tina has so much energy, I'm going to be able to pull at least a shield and maybe just take out the Dragalge in the first place. Because to be completely honest with you, these Dragon Claws are super effective and they hurt. And Dragalge just, you know, it takes a bit of time to take me out, but that's okay. So here's the issue I have. If this is a Gungshot Dragalge, this is a problem. So I'm going to come back in with Tapu Fini because I'm taking no damage from that. And Scizor comes in, and I'm like, well, crap. I can't come in with my Drapion to this because they've probably got Iron Head. They're hitting me with Bullet Punches. So my thought here is to shield the potential Iron Head. I'm going to throw the Surf. And then once I've pulled either one shield more off of the Scizor, or they're down here in the range of about half HP, I know that one crunch will KO from this range or come very close to it. So I'm actually going to tank a move here and try to get to another crunch. I hope I can get to another crunch. I need to get to 2 crunches here, essentially. And I wasn't willing to shield because I thought maybe they were running X-Scissor. So I'm like, nah. But I do get to another crunch, thankfully, and they CMP me. So this is worth the shield because the crunch will probably KO. And I'm kind of at the point where, like, if this Dragalge has Gung Shot, I'm so screwed. But if they have Outrage, like most of them do, I'm fine. So this is just going to be a point where I screw around and find out what move they've got. I'm going to hope to get to a Surf before they get there, but the opponent CMP ties me on the Surf. And I'm like, oh, please tell me this isn't a Gung Shot. Nope, it's an Aqua Tail. They're running Aqua Tail Outrage, and that's going to be it for this battle. Well played to my opponent. Had they had Gung Shot, I would have lost for sure. Like, no question. All right, we're picking up a lead into a Giratina. Most of them in the beginning of the cup were running Dragon Breath, so this is a very good lead for me. Now, this is where I find out that Crobat actually can beat Drapion in the 2 shields. So, if you're playing this team and you run into Drapion, or you run your Drapion into a Crobat, make sure you land a Surf or something first, because this thing actually can beat you in the 2 shields. It's kind of stupid. Which is probably a good point, because the Air Cutter damage is so strong. But something worth noting here is, and I know that 2/3 of this team is non-XL, but the Drapion is XL. If you don't have a Drapion, you can run Alolan Muck in place of it. You just have to be able to know that there's a slightly different dynamic to running Muck. It's more fast move damage and less charge move. So just, you know, keep that in mind. But the Patreons of mine and some of my students who are running this team that are not able to use the Drapion, they do use a Muck, and they're doing pretty well with it. So, gonna be able to get a crunch off against the Genesect as they swap in before they farm me down, and I realize that this one is an Ice Drive Genesect. So, I only have to deal with the Magnet Bombs, which, I mean, I can tank a couple Magnet Bombs, but I'm not gonna bring in my Giratina at this point. So, I'm gonna try and farm this down. I'm gonna save the shield. No, I'm gonna shield up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and let the Magnet Bomb get the shield, and I'm gonna farm down the Genesect, and now I've got a full Tina. I've got a Tapu Fini with a fair amount of energy, and their Crobat comes into Poison Fang my Tapu Fini, which is fine. I lived this easily, and I'm going to swap out to clear the debuff, and their Giratina is going to come in, and it's got Dragon Breath, but it's behind on HP and a little bit behind on energy as well, which means that because of my Shadow Claws, I'm going to get to the Dragon Claws faster than them. Double Claws, such a tongue twister. I'm going to be able to get to the Dragon Claws faster than they will, which means I'm going to be able to take out the Giratina. So I'm looking to get a couple of Dragon Claws here. I need to get to 2, otherwise I'm not going to be able to take them out, but I also know that I vastly outpaced because Dragon Breath does not get nearly as much energy as the Shadow Claws do. So I'm going to slowly chip this thing down into Oblivion, and now Crobat's going to come in, and I'm hopefully going to be able to get to Dragon Claw right before they Air Cutter me down, and they would have a Poison Fang ready to go. So that is going to be a good game. Well played to my opponent. Very strong, though. This team is so strong. Like, I've won so many leads with this team, and like this is a Chandelure. This is spicy, dude. I love this. Opponent safe swap into Fortress, and that is not exactly a good swap. They have Earthquake, though, so that's about the only thing they're going to do to hurt me. And I've got Drapion, and I've got Giratina, which isn't the worst thing to have against Chandelure, but if they land a Shadow Ball on me, I'm done for. So I'm kind of just trying to make sure that I keep my Drapion. And I realize at this point that I brought the wrong Giratina. I have 2. I have this one from a long time. It was like 2 Go Fests ago. And I've kept it because it's decent. It's like a 10-15-15. But I realized that I brought the wrong one, and I'm like, oh, shoot. I don't have Ancient Power, so this is going to suck against this Chandelure. So I do rectify this mistake after the first game, realizing that I brought the wrong one. But I do have to just throw a bunch of Dragon Claws in this Cavalier. I would much rather have Ancient Power right now. But we're still going to win the game, and you're going to see why. Because Tapu Fini is literally the most OP thing in this meta, in my opinion. Easily the best team in this cup. Like, I have 2 teams that I really like, and I think that this one's honestly superior, but they're both very strong. And both of them are legend worthy. I'm pretty sure the other one's going to be out on video tomorrow, if not a couple days later. So, going to go for some Surfs here against this as Cavalier, and that is going to enable me to start pulling shields because they absolutely cannot line up their Chandelure against me, and this is worth my shields as well because I know the Chandelure has no energy. which means that Tapu Fini is going to get a bunch of water guns off on the Chandelure before they even get to a first move, and I'm going to make sure I throw this Surf right at the end of the third Incinerate before they're able to get a move off. Probably going to go for a Flame Charge here, and I mean, honestly, I could easily just shield this and probably get another Surf off, but at this point, I also know that Drapion is going to be able to get to a crunch before they get to that, and mine still has Aqua Tail on it, which I also rectify after this battle. Playing some factions matchups with my Shadow Drapion, it had Aqua Tail on it, so we fixed those move sets into this battle. So we're going to have the Tapu Fini leading into the Escavalier. They're going to save swap into a Tapu Fini, and I'm going to save swap into my Drapion. I'm going to shield because I know that if I let a Surf through, the water guns will add up and I won't be able to win this matchup, and I'm going to just go for a ton of energy. I'm going to go for double Sludge Bomb. I'm going to get to my Sludge Bombs faster than they get to 3 Surfs, so I know that I can win this matchup going straight Sludge Bomb, but I take out my opponent with a nice, big one-shot. There it is. I turned it on. It took a little time. It took me a little time, but I got it. So Crunch is going to come through, and honestly, Crunches take out like half of an Escavalier's HP. Like, Escavalier may be a good counter to Drapion, like, straight up, but if this Drapion has any energy lead, forget about it. This is not worth a shield to me, though, so I'm going to let it go. I'd rather get the farm on Giratina or Tapu Fini, and I'm going to come in with Giratina to start really shredding the energy, and they come in with a Gengar. And my Shadow Claws are just ripping through the Gengar. And if I really want to, I could bring a Tapu Fini, but I'm going to stay in with my Giratina because I know that with a shield, I can basically survive and sweep whatever they've got. But I do decide to shield up a potential Shadow Ball, which is not a Shadow Ball, which sucks. But to be completely honest, the Dragon Claw is going to do enough damage to put this thing into a range where I can take it out. And I come in with my Tapu Fini here because I either eat the energy or just farm them down, get to a Surf against the Escav, and take them out. Either way, I have a sure shot of winning this game. Just a matter of maybe picking the safer option, right? So Drill Run doesn't really do that much. I'm just going to get to the Surf and KO my opponent, and that will be a good game. And these are the only 3 sets I've played with this team. So I'm not cherry picking my battles or anything, for anybody wondering. These are literally just me playing 3 straight sets. Tapu Fini in the lead against Incineroar. There are so many dark and like Giratinas and just all these things. So I wait whenever there's a Giratina swap in. I always wait to see what their fast move is. Drapion loses the 2 shields straight Dragon Claw against the Giratina if they're running Dragon Breath as well, because that damage is just neutral, and unfortunately it's just they can't. Drapion can't get as many crunches off. You need to get 4 crunches off against the Giratina and the 2 shields in order to beat it, and Drapion only gets to 3 and goes down in the middle of, like, I think almost getting to the last crunch. So if it has Shadow Claw, though, safe to swap right in. You easily can win even shield matchups with Drapion. Just a matter of how many shields your opponent wants to put down before they realize they can't make it. But my opponent makes a really nice catch, and I get refunded, I think, right as I go to throw the crunch there. And I'm going to drop a Sludge Bomb onto the opponent. The Incineroar is now going to get Water Gun down. They're probably trying to lure my Tapu Fini back out. And they're not even going to get to a move because Fire Fang is horrible at getting energy. So what does my opponent have in the back? It's a Jellicent. So they were definitely trying to lure out my Tapu Fini to try and get a good matchup against it, but to be honest, it really is no avail to my opponent, unfortunately, because Tapu Fini has so much energy. I can just go straight for Moonblasts here, and I know that because this person has Hex on their Jellicent, Drapion could probably get to another crunch before getting Hex down. So I'm going to go for this Moonblast here, and I could also just farm down with my Giratina too. Like, there's multiple ways for me to be able to take this game here. So what I'm going to look to do is I'm going to look to just come straight in with Drapion to force my opponent to throw their energy. I want them to put it away, and they just go for a Bubble Beam, which is fine. I forced them to throw their energy somewhere where I would rather not have them throw it against my Giratina. So now Giratina is going to be able to come in. I can shield if I want to, but I'm going to try and call a Bubble Beam bait here. And I'm really hoping it is, but it's not. Shadow Ball hits pretty hard, but it's not going to hit hard enough to be able to take out my Giratina. And since I saved the shield, if my opponent's Giratina gets to a move, which it does, I can now shield that. So either way, if I'd spent the shield, I just didn't want to have to spend it and get Bubble Beam baited, because that would have felt really bad. But my opponent now brings in their Jellicent to get destroyed by this Dragon Claw, and that's going to be able to take this game out as well. Very well played to my opponent, though unfortunately Tapu Fini just core breaking their team here. And here we go against a Mirror Lead. So Mirror Lead, what I like to do is go straight to Drapion, because the opponent will try to call your bluff and think, oh, they're just running Aqua Tail. Like, nope, I'm running Sludge Bomb, and you're going to find out real fast. So I'm going to throw the Sludge Bomb in. almost one-shot the Tapu Fini, and now they're going to be forced to throw a Surf. And now, because I'm so far ahead in this game, because they let that through, I'm going to just shield this up, and they come in with an XL Frostless, and that is some spice. I will have one day. I have all the XLs from all the trades that I did last year in the December-ish area where they had the Christmas event, but man, I did not get one that was worth building. So one of these days, I'm gonna get a lucky, you know, hundo or something like that, and I'm gonna try and build it for Ultra League, because Frostlass, even though it's only at 2200 CP, puts in some work. Shadow Ball on this Tapu Fini does like 45% of its HP. It's kind of big. So, I mean, even though Frostlass isn't fully 2500 CP, it's definitely not a bad pick in the Ultra League at all. They're gonna take the Surf, and they've got a Trevenant, and I'm terrified, man. This thing could easily destroy me. So I've got to call a Seed Bomb. And I don't call the Seed Bomb. So they get me with the bait, and all they have to do is throw a Shadow Ball into my face. This sucks. This sucks so bad. But somehow I'm going to be able to pull this game out. So Dragon Claw is going to get the shield. Maybe they think I'm going to go for the Shadow Sneak, which is fine. I mean, that's honestly not the wrong thing to do here. But I'm going to go for Dragon Claw, and I'm going to hope I can get this thing down into a range where maybe I can farm it down. I know my Tapu Fini's got some energy, but not enough to be able to get to this. But my opponent swaps in Tapu Fini, maybe trying to catch a move, but they give me a win here. They literally swap in to let me catch, to try and catch a move here. Could have been a paid actor, I don't know. They were already legend for all I know, but either way, I appreciate that they did that because it let me win the game. Another Giratina lead. This one's got Dragon Breath, which means this is an excellent lead for Tapu Fini. When your opponent stays in with a Dragon Breath Giratina, just go for Moonblast. All they can do is hit you with Ancient Power or Shadow Sneak, and as you can see, it doesn't hurt that much, and you're also taking double resisted Dragon Breath. Now, I will farm up a little bit past the Moonblast in order to see if they want to catch the Moonblast on something, but they don't, and it hits the Giratina for a lot of damage, and at this point, I can probably just farm it all the way down. Now, the reason why they're staying in is most likely because they're core broken by Tapu Fini. They've probably got something in the back. Now, I look to swap, and my opponent swaps immediately as well. And we get stuck in this matchup. So there's a Skuntank on the other side of the field. You can't see it because Giratina's got some thick, fat legs, as we call it, Fat Tina. But that's okay because Fat Tina does its job very nicely. Because the opponent's got a Poison Jab fast move, I'm going to be able to put some pressure with the Dragon Claws coming out much, much quicker than their crunches will. So I'll not shield the first crunch and then shield the second one. Just because if I don't shield the first one, it means that there's no chance that I'm taking increased damage from the debuff, right? If they debuff me with the first crunch and I shield that, then I don't shield the second one, I'm taking more damage for no reason. So I'd rather not shield the first crunch, knowing that I'm going to live it, and then I'm going to be able to Shadow Claw down the Skuntank. The opponent leaves with a shield advantage, but I've got some energy, and they've got a Giratina that's going to go down, and I have like 2 HP. So I'm going to swap out right away, and I'm going to come in with my Drapion because that's just the safe swap in this situation. I'm not going to counter with my Tapu Fini just because I don't know what they were going to bring. I was blindly swapping. So at this point, I know that whatever they've got, I can live a Techno Blast from this HP range, although it'll be close. I'm looking to get their shields right now. That's all I want, but I have been left in a range where they can just farm me down. So this is going to be very, very close. All I can do here is save my shield for Tapu Fini and try to farm this thing down, and it looks like, I mean, I'm even in range for a Magnet Bomb, so this is very, very harrowing for me. And I shield an X-Scissor, which feels bad. They're not even running Magnet Bomb, so I do know, though, that I do resist all their moves. They're going to throw the Techno Blast here for sure. And now it's going to be a race. Can Giratina get one Shadow Claw off before it goes down? Yes, it can. The opponent is not able to get to enough damage with their Fury Cutters to take out my Giratina, and that is a close but great game. Nidoqueen lead is very scary, so you go straight into Drapion, and your goal here is to draw out their Scrafty or their other Dark, and if they stay in this long, punish them with a Crunch before they go for Earth Power. Most of the time, they're probably going to go for a Poison Fang bait at the Earth Power, but you have to shield to respect it, because if the idea here is for them to come in with a Dark type or something that Tapu Fini can farm down, and then you're going to hit them with as much energy as you can with the Tapu Fini's Surfs. So you can get a Surf, and that does like 45, 50, no, I think it's like 55 or 60, I don't know the number, but it's a little over half of the Nidoqueen's HP, more if it's a Shadow. So if you can put your Tapu Fini in a position to farm something down and come in with a Surf or two loaded against that Nidoqueen, you're giving yourself more of an advantage even though you hard lose the lead. So I let my Drapion go here, And because it's a Chill Drive Genesect, I'm once again just going to not shield anything. Tapu Fini can easily live this and then some. And I'm going to have at least a Surf loaded for the Nidoqueen. So I'm going to stay in, get the Surf off, and then come in with my Giratina to force them to come in with something else. And then again, if they've got a Dark type, I'm going to come in again with Tapu Fini after letting Giratina go down and use that Surf to try and take out Nidoqueen. Now, this is probably another Poison Fang, and even if it's an Earth Power, I'm not shielding it because I know that I don't need to. And they come in with their own Giratina running Dragon Breath. So with a defense debuff, this is actually not super great. But keep in mind that because my Shadow Claws are going to outpace them like that, and I'm up a shield, this is going to give me a position here that I need to win the game, because the Dragon Claw damage is going to add up even quicker than their Dragon Breath damage, because, you know, Dragon Breath is a fast move, it doesn't gain as much energy as Shadow Claw. But I'm going to let this go and save the shield and fully farm down with Tapu Fini. Just like I mentioned, I want to make sure I come into this with as much energy as I can to hit that Nidoqueen with the Surf and take it out. Opponent does go for the Ancient Power, and they get the boost, but I'm still going to be able to farm it down all before they can take me out, and I've got enough for the Surf to throw against the Nidoqueen. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, get hard countered, but you're going to go out in a blaze of glory, take this game, and that is well played to my opponent. Here we go. We got Tapu Fini against Yveltal. This is a great lead. And they come in with a Muck. So, all right. So Muck is scary. So I need to throw a Surf here. And I need to be able to win switch. Even at the expense of some of my Tapu Fini. Because, like, I can't line up Giratina against the Yveltal. I'd be screwed. So I need to basically make sure that whatever I do, I can win switch against the Muck, and by hitting them with a Surf in the beginning, that's either going to pull an early shield, or it's going to allow me to get some HP off the Muck, which they did shield it. So now I'm going to be able to come with Drapion, outpace them with the crunches, and even though they hit me with a Sludge Wave, it's still okay. If they really want to shield here, like, I will commit a shield here just to maintain switch advantage. Nope, I don't. See, me of the future thinks that should have been shielded, but in the past, I guess I was like, just keep shields, right? So it's fine though. Giratina is going to get to throw Ancient Powers, which is still okay here. Even though Yveltal is going to get the Dark Pulses, I can shield a Dark Pulse up, and those Ancient Powers are going to be threatening this Yveltal's HP. I can just go straight for this Ancient Power. I probably should have thrown with better timing there, but I was just trying to get some energy off here. But they do not shield it, and they go down. The Yveltal goes down. What's in the back? But a Nidoqueen, and the opponent quits. So in the end, it worked out, right? But having the alignment would have been much better for me. So shielding that up would have been a better thing for me. So I get the Mandibuzz lead in the next game, and they come in with a Drapion. So Drapion swap-ins, I look to catch on 6 when they would throw the Sludge Bomb. If the opponent's not running Sludge Bomb, that sucks, because then typically your Tapu Fini does wall it completely. But I'd rather not play that game. I would rather be safe than sorry. So I'm going to come in with my Drapion here in order to maintain switch. Now that I've gotten some HP off of them, and they wasted all of their energy, or most of it, trying to take me out with a Sludge Bomb, quote unquote, against Tapu Fini and getting caught. But see, here's the thing now. They have Aqua Tail and they outpace me, and I only have Sludge Bomb and Crunch, so if they shield this, I do lose switch. But they decide not to shield, so I'm going to commit one shield here and farm them down. Getting switch advantage here is huge, because I don't want my Giratina up against this thing at all. So now that, even though I'm down a shield, the alternative would have been to just get boned. So my opponent's got Nidoqueen in the back and a Mandibuzz, and I've got good alignment here. So this is basically going to be a good game at this point. The alignment is so strong that even with a shield advantage, I don't think my opponent will be able to win this game. And so the Dragon Claws are going to come out, be spammy. My opponent probably going to go for Poison Fang here to try and get the Earth Power to land harder, which they do here. So now I'm actually thinking that I might need to shield an Earth Power at this point, because, you know, that could almost KO me, and I can't really let my Tapu Fini get against this Nidoqueen. So I do shield this up here just to be certain that it doesn't KO me. I do block the Earth Power, which is really huge, and I'm over farming a bit. Just in case they try to catch a Dragon Claw, I can throw an Ancient Power on the Mandibuzz if they try to catch. But my opponent now comes in with the Mandibuzz, and I'm immediately responding with my Tapu Fini. And even though they've got a shield advantage, a couple Moon Blasts is going to be all it takes to get through that shield and through most of this Mandibuzz. But because they're running Air Slash, they're doing some pretty respectable fast move damage. So I am going to have to manage my game still here. I can't just assume that I won just because I've got alignment. But it's still very favorable because I do definitely live this move, and then Giratina will be able to get an Ancient Power off against this Mandibuzz after it takes this Moon Blast. So you'll see, even down a shield, Mandibuzz can still beat Tapu Fini with the Air Slash. But because I'm able to get to this Ancient Power, and I'm over farming a bit, and I'm like, I took a complete risk there. It could have backfired in my face, but I'm pretty sure that I could live foul play from that range if I needed to. So. Still a good game. Well played to my opponent. Now, I think this is going to be... We're in the midst of the final... Yeah, this is the second to last battle. This is the loss, by the way, but I want you to pay attention as to why. I am pretty sure that I win this game, and I'll explain it when I see it. So, Charm Lead, obviously, you really can't swap in here. Drapion loses the 2-shield matchup to Charmers, so they could definitely just come in, 2-shield, charm down my Ninetales, and then my only real answer to it is gone, because I can't let my Giratina get loaded up against... or get matched up against it. So they now come in with a Drapion, and I'm up so much energy that I can go for this Moon Blast. Now their Drapion, I can come in with my Drapion since they tank this, and I will still be able to maintain alignment, but the problem is now is that Giratina is like not good for Ninetales, and Tapu Fini is very low, and I can't really use it that well against the opponent's Ninetales. It doesn't have much HP left to do with. So I will have to be throwing crunches here against the opponent's Drapion, but I'm topping up on energy as much as I can just to make sure that I've got some energy for the coming matchups so that I can store a move and have it ready for the Ninetales. And I'm going to farm down here and put a shield to it because I think that this is going to be a matchup where having all this energy on Drapion is going to help me. And they come in with a Crocodile. Imagine the one thing that you really didn't want to see. So I'm going to swap out here. I'm banking my energy. I've got a Sludge Bomb loaded on my Drapion so that whenever that Ninetales comes back in, I can toss it at it. Now I'm going to come in with my Giratina here. I'm going to try and do as much damage as I can against the Crocodile, but look at this. Look at how much HP they have left. They're in the red, right? Tapu Fini probably Water Guns it down from here. The opponent comes in with their Ninetales, and they're charming me down, which is going to happen. And I throw the Ancient Power and get the last shield. Now, I'm going to come in with Drapion and throw the Sludge Bomb, and normally I should just be able to KO it straight away. But the Desync Demon gets me. And even though I had the Sludge Bomb tapped, loaded, and ready to go, my opponent is able to win CMP somehow, and I don't think they're supposed to be able to win CMP. So, Tapu Fini is going to get taken out, and that's going to snap a 13 win streak for me. But I mean, it was still well played by my opponent. I don't know for sure if my Water Guns were going to be enough to take out the Crocodile afterwards, but I would like to think they would have been, because Crocodile's not exactly, you know, very bulky by any stretch of the imagination. So my opponent's got a Galvantula lead, and this is really awkward. Can't stay in with Tapu Fini. I would much rather have my Giratina against this thing, so my opponent is staying in to try and play this out, and at this point, I've gotten both of their shields, and I'm happy with that, because now anything from Tapu Fini would probably come close to KOing this thing, so I'm going to stay in here. They're going to farm me down, but I'm going to not be able to get to a move either. I was hoping to be able to get to one more crunch beforehand, but it's just not going to happen. So I'm going to now wait out the switch clock, come in with my Giratina, because that is the hardest wall to this thing in the game here, or at least in this particular game. And then I'm going to throw an Ancient Power at the Mandibuzz to chip it, and then come in with Tapu Fini. My opponent maybe has another Dark type in back, or something that doesn't really like Drapion. Maybe they've got a Charmer back there. I don't know. We're going to find out. I haven't really seen Galvantula cores in this meta as of yet, so we're going to see. But having two shields is a nice thing. I don't really want to shield anything against the Mandibuzz, but after this I might have to. I'm really hoping to kind of close this out with my Giratina, to be honest, because it seems like, you know, if I can maintain alignment here with the Giratina against their Galvantula, I'll be in a good spot. So I will shield anything after this point if they do hit me. But Tapu Fini takes out the Mandibuzz, and they come in with Galvantula. I instantly shield no matter what they're going to throw because I don't want to get taken out. My Tapu Fini might still have some play. Going to come in with Giratina, and my opponent throws another move. I know that everything is resisted. I will not shield this. And Lunge is going to get the attack drop on me, and they're going to come in with their own Giratina that's running Dragon Breath. Now, you and I have seen this before, and with a shield and a bunch of energy, my Dragon Claws are going to be able to take this Giratina deep into the red, and all I have to do at this point is farm down their Giratina. If I lose switch, save my shield for Tapu Fini just in case that their Galvantula gets to a move, or in case their Giratina gets to a move, honestly, at this range. And I just need to throw a Surf into their opposing Galvantula. So I'm going to farm down. I no-shield this because I'm not sure how much energy the Gal has. It did overfarm by a lot. And if my opponent had thrown any other move, it might have been enough. But I don't know why I farmed so far past the Surf there. That was a it was a gut call for me, man. But that's going to be able to still take this game. That is going to be the 15 games that took me to Legend with this team. A 14-1 run. Everybody, this team is phenomenal. I highly recommend you try it out if you've got the pieces for it. Again, if you don't have the Drapion, you can run a Alolan Muck in its place. Using the, I would recommend using the Sludge Wave, Dark Pulse, Poison Jab. I wouldn't really go with Snarl, even though PV Poke recommends it. Being able to farm things down with Poison Jab is just really nice. And the Giratina and the Tapu Fini non-XL easily accessible if you were around when they were in raids. Giratina obviously was just in raids. The Tapu Fini was in raids for a while, and hopefully you were able to grab one for Ultra League, because at this point I consider it a staple. So that's going to be the video for today, guys. Thank you so much for sitting with all these battles. I hope that all these matchups and everything is going to help you pilot this team and maybe hit Legend with it yourself. Let me know in the comments if you try the team and know how you do. And like I said, again, coaching and Patreon, Discord, 2 excellent resources that are available if you'd like to check those out. Links are in the description for those. And shout out to all my Patreon members. You guys are amazing, and thank you for everything that you do. And that is going to do it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.